Watching TV makes you stupid. You might have not believed your mother when she told you so, but let me give you the reasons. Imagine what you're really doing when you're watching TV, when you're watching a streaming service, when you're watching Game of Thrones on whatever. You're just sitting on your couch, passively observing the entertainment as presented to you. You don't have to imagine the words, the scenery, none of the sounds. You don't have to imagine anything actually. And you don't have to do anything. What you're doing is you're training your brain that by just sitting down and switching on the TV, it will be entertained. Back in the good old days, before TV, back before we had theater, back when we told stories around a campfire in some cave, when our current physiology evolved, when you were bored and you wanted entertainment, you could only get that by doing something productive, at least a bit productive. You could talk to other human beings, thus strengthening the social bonds of your group, and you would probably share a bit of information, how to do things, who's doing it with who, maybe where to find food. And this communication over the course of centuries will benefit human society as a whole, and you get fire, the wheel, agriculture, and so forth. Or you have to actually go out and do something actively. Look for any kind of activity. Play a game, for example, do a physical activity. Most fun it is, again, in a group, strengthening your social bonds, but you're also exercising your body, strengthening your body for the hunts to come. Or you go out hunting. You go out making tools, building stuff, looking for plants, or just experimenting, bashing stones together until something happens. But again, over the course of millennia, that benefits humanity as a whole. So when you're bored and you're looking for entertainment, what your brain wants you to do is to be active, talk to other humans, do something that might be productive. And as you can see, TV is not that. You don't have to talk to other humans, you don't have to do anything, and you're still getting that nice dose of endorphin. Now, not all TV is created equally. There are some generally good, engaging TV shows, movies. There are some great, well-researched, well-presented documentaries. But for every one of those, you've got like 2 reality TV shows where you can just watch other people do stuff. If you ask me, reality TV is the lowest form of entertainment. And this ends up to be a vicious cycle if you just let it continue. If maybe from early childhood you have been parked in front of the TV so you don't get on your parents' nerves because you want to do something active. No, sit in front of the TV, we don't have time. And you watch TV, you're entertained, you learn that's what you do to get entertained. So that's what you do when you're an adult. You come from work, you sit in front of the TV, you watch TV while you're eating, you watch TV at breakfast, you eat in front of the TV. This all forms more habits to watch TV. And your brain is forgetting that there are other things it should be doing to get those nice endorphins. Now contrast that to role-playing games. Even in the lowest engagement form of role-playing games, which would be watching other people play role-playing games, you still have to imagine most of what is going on. You have to imagine the characters talking, you have to imagine the characters going about the landscape, you have to imagine the landscape, you have to imagine the characters, you have to imagine them swinging swords and doing heroic deeds. But if you're playing yourself, it's an interactive medium. You have to do something. That it got in common with video games. That's why video games are not the lowest form of entertainment, because even the lowest of the low, the most simple video game is interactive. You have to do something. But in a role-playing game, you not only have to do something, you have to imagine the world you are acting in while still acting in the real world as well. You have to imagine, you have to come up with battle tactics that work in-game and by the rules out of the game. You have to learn the rules, you have to make characters, you have to roll dice, position miniatures. You have to interact with your fellow human beings to tell this story, to play this game. You have to look for a group, you have to make a character, you have to schedule. Maybe you have to go somewhere to actually play the game. Creativity, productivity is just ingrained into the fabric of RPGs. That's why most players at some point will take up creative endeavors. Maybe you become the dungeon master and you start writing your own adventures. Maybe you want a portrait of your character, an illustration. You can either search for an artist and pay that artist to do it, but you'd still have to describe your character, or you pick up pen and paper yourself and try drawing your character, learn drawing so you can illustrate that. Maybe you start writing your own modules, adventures, your own homebrew classes, your own homebrew rule sets. Maybe you create entire worlds. Maybe it leads to you writing role-playing books or novels, a full epic fantasy saga. Role-playing games inherently demand you to be creative and proactive and use your big-ass brains to do something productive. Maybe you go on, do research. You start by reading the rules. Maybe then you read other rule sets. Maybe you get interested in historical armor and weapons and read some articles and some books about history. Maybe you get interested in science because you're playing a science fiction game and research rocket engines and physics and space travel. And that is why role-playing games make you smart. Because you have to use your big-ass brain. You have to imagine everything that is going on. You have to interact with rules, with a presented imaginary world. You have to interact with other human beings, real and imaginary. You have to be creative, proactive. You have to create stuff, to have fun. You're training your brain that it's getting those nice endorphins if it is working hard, if it is creative and creating. And so being creative, thinking, being proactive, creating, being social, all becomes second nature to you. And that is why watching TV makes you stupid, while role-playing games make you smart. Just something to think about. That's all I really wanted to talk about today. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.